If you have big goals, but you find yourself constantly falling off, it's probably for one of these two reasons. One, when you think about all the goals you have, you get overwhelmed and anxious and you end up getting analysis paralysis and doing absolutely nothing. Or you're able to remain consistent for 2-3 weeks, maybe even 2-3 months, but you always find yourself burning out and falling back to your old ways and unwinding all of your progress. Well, in this video, I'm gonna break down the mindset hack that I use to make consistency easy. And by the end of this video, if you implement everything I say, it's not gonna be a matter of if you're gonna achieve your goals, it's gonna be a matter of when. And your life is just gonna be a lot more calm, simple, and you'll have more clarity on your purpose and what you need to do. I spent most of my life just spinning my wheels, knowing I was destined for more, but I didn't do shit about it. Or, like I said, I would just be consistent for a little while and always slip back into my old habit patterns. But for the last 3-4 years, I've been consistent. I've built an amazing physique. I've started a business. I've quit my job. I've moved to my dream city, and I've become the man I've always wanted to be. And it's so simple to do. And in this video, I'm gonna explain how you can do the exact same thing. So let's dive right into it. The mindset that helped me reach my full potential. So this presentation is basically gonna be about how I broke the loop of inconsistency, anxiety, and self-sabotage, because I suffered with this for the most of my life, especially the self-sabotage aspect and just feeling anxious all of the time. Like I didn't know what next steps to take. I didn't know how to become my highest self. And I was a very fearful person in that regard. And I would always make some progress, but then I'd always end up falling back into a binge loop or just, getting in my own head and unwinding and self-sabotaging myself. So I want to share some pictures with you guys of me before I really locked it all in. And I'll give you a story behind each. So when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, I was an absolute stoner. All I did was smoke weed. That was my entire life, right? Because every time I smoked weed, it took me to a different place. I was escaping the pain I was dealing with from my father dying, from me not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, from me just having so many question marks about what to do with my life. Instead of actually facing my issues and all the insecurities I had, I would just go to weed because it made me feel happy no matter where I was. I was smoking weed sometimes in my buddy's shed, feeling happy. That's fucked up. That's what weed does. That's why weed's a dangerous drug. It can make you feel happy even when you're in the worst circumstances, and it holds you back from breaking through. And then you could see me here, in college and even after that, in my 20s, just blacking the fuck out at bars, again, just to escape. I look forward to the weekend so much because I hated my day-to-day life. Why? Because I just didn't have clarity on my goals, man. I had no idea who I was as a man. And I knew I had all these insecurities in my head, all these vices and all these bad habits that I couldn't escape from. And I was terrified to face them. So I would just black out. Here's me, my shirt off at the bar. I just fell on the floor. I was a mess. And then here's a picture of me after I got into a fight with some kid for no reason. I remember the night, bro. It was a friend of mine, and we were sitting there sniffing cocaine. I must have been 19 here, of course, escaping my problems. And he just said something I didn't like. And the next thing you know, we were fucking fighting, and I got my ass kicked, bro. I got my ass kicked. The kid was way bigger than me. But I took all the insecurity and emotion that I was dealing with that I couldn't face, and I projected it on him. I had a temper issue because I wasn't willing to face my problems. So there's me after getting pretty fucked up. Here's me the morning after going out, blacking out, and waking up with some random hoe bag girl who I don't even know who she is that I didn't like. And the reason I use girls as a vice is because I was so insecure with myself. I didn't have any routine. I didn't have any clarity on my goals. I wasn't making any progress in my life. So in my head, I was like, if I get girls, I'm the man. But that was cope. That was cope with the fact that I wasn't secure with myself as a man. And this is me. You could just see the look of disgust in my face with me looking at myself. And then here's me, in 2021, after college, I had this job I was working that I absolutely hated. I got fat. I felt like a piece of shit. You could see me there. I looked terrible. I don't even know, man. I was just banged up. I had no clarity on my goals. I would go to work and I would just do the bare minimum. I was constantly just pulling myself back down because I didn't believe in myself, bro. I genuinely just had this self-despair that I couldn't face. And then here's me after that, 2021, when I had knee surgeries, bro, and I got fat. I got fat, okay? I was disgusted with myself. I had lost everything at this point. My girlfriend had just broke up with me because I went crazy on her because I was so insecure. So she dumped me. And then I was heartbroken. And then I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. And then I had 2 knee surgeries. And this is how I looked. I just looked absolutely horrible. And I felt as bad as I looked. Like, this is me here with my family, but I was going through all these things. Like, look at the size of me, bro, compared to me now. Like, you guys know what I look like now. This was like rock bottom. And what am I doing? Like, I'm drinking beer. Like, the worst possible thing you can do when you're that out of shape, right? Here's me, fat, making horrible eating decisions. You can see a fat plate of like lasagna, like the last thing I should be eating. I just constantly was doing things to make me feel good in the moment to escape how I was feeling. But when I was chasing this short-term gratification, the problem is, yeah, it made you feel good now, but then you have the guilt afterwards, and that makes you double down on the bad shit because you're constantly just trying to escape the way you feel. So that was my life. That was my life. But the entire time, I knew I had more potential, but I had no structure, no direction, no clarity, and I was a slave to my vices: alcohol, porn, weed, drugs, girls, whatever, you name it. I was out of shape, was inconsistent, I wasn't confident, I was constantly overwhelmed. My anxiety was through the roof, and thinking about my goals made it worse. It made it 100 times worse because I had too many things to fix. There was too many moving pieces. There was too much pressure. That overwhelming feeling led me to doing absolutely nothing, right? And that's kind of what this presentation is really going to be about. How do we overcome the analysis paralysis? How do we overcome the fear of taking action? How do we reshape our mindset to get out of our current circumstance and put our minds in the place we want to be, right? So I'm going to show you some pictures now. Here's me the first time after hitting rock bottom, when I finally went all the way into committing to my goals. I got to like 10% body fat. And that's me coming from the picture of me being fat. So this was a big deal for me. I remember having my girlfriend take pictures of me like every 2 hours. I was like so stoked about how I looked, right? And that was pretty impressive from where I came from. Then I became so damn confident, I got a photo shoot done. So I was like, oh, I'm the man. I'm getting a photo shoot done. Look at me, I'm peeled. My relationships got better. Like, this is a recent picture of me and my little cousin, who is a big reason why I'm super motivated and I really want to be a good example for him. You know, here's me building relationships. There's me and Will in the cut. You know, me and Will training. Here's me and my little sister. Like, those of you that know, my dad died when I was 15, and my dad was supposed to walk her out for her sweet 16. And, you know, obviously he wasn't here, so I got the opportunity to do that. And it was one of the happiest moments of my life, and clearly hers too. But I came a long way from this, you know? So how do you frame your mind to get out of this and look like this, right? Be this guy. Like, look at me with my family. Like, you know, I'm very big on family, and this is me, you know, I'm just happy now. I'm just happy, and I'm Jack, and I feel really happy, and I want you all to feel this way, right? So how did everything change? How the hell did I go from this to this in less than 2 years? It's because I made one decision. And the very first step, it wasn't me waiting to be motivated. I wasn't waiting for some perfect plan. It wasn't more knowledge. It wasn't any of these things. It was commitment. I finally decided enough is enough. I am finally committing. I'm all in, right? We talked about this last week. I finally said, nah, I'm all in. And that's when it all changed. That is when everything changed, because I had never been all in on my goals before. Now, obviously, everything in this presentation is under the preface that you've already set your goals and you already know what you want. And next week, we'll go over goal setting. But this is all under the preface that you actually set goals for yourself. I had never been all in on my goals before, and that's what held me back. Because once you decide you're going to become this man, this version of you who's successful in every regard, then and only then does your mind actually find the way. Then the path illuminates as you walk. You don't wait for the right time, you jump. Right? And that's what I did, right? So your focus shifts from everything's going wrong to I'm going to find a way, right? Your brain stops searching for excuses and it actually starts to search for solutions when you commit. Because the path, like I said, it doesn't appear until you decide to walk it. The second you decide, it's like it immediately illuminates for you and you know what to do, right? So when you have this mindset of I'm going to get it done and you're looking for the solutions, you find them, because what you seek, you get more of in life. Where attention goes, energy flows.
If you focus on what you want, you get more of what you want. If you focus on what you don't want, you get more of what you don't want. So ask yourself, where is your attention and energy going? Once you commit, you find the way, right? Now I'm going to give you some undeniable proof that your potential is waiting for you. I did this exercise with you last week, but let's do it again. As human beings, we think in images, right? We think in images. When you think of something, whatever it is, it pops up as a little image in your brain. So let's do this little exercise again. Think of the color red. You can physically see the color red in your mind, can you not? Okay, now think of the color blue. You can physically see the color blue in your mind. Now think of a color that's never existed before and see it in your mind. You physically cannot. Why? Because you can only visualize things that you've already seen. So if you can visualize yourself being in better shape, being a leader, being this person that you want to become, then it's already done, because you can only see things in your mind that have already happened. Meaning in a parallel universe, there is a version of you who already has those things. The difference between you and that person is the action behind it, the decision behind it, right? So I've spoke about paradigms in the past, but let's reiterate how paradigms are the real reason we stay stuck. Right? A paradigm works like this. You have a thought leads to a feeling, the feeling leads to action, the action leads to result, which reinforces the loop, right? So you might be in a loop of, oh my God, successful things keep happening, like Nye. I know you, like you joined the program, everything is going right in your life because you keep looking for the things that are going to go right in your life and good things keep happening to you. But if you find yourself constantly falling off, you're constantly in the wrong thought pattern. And I'm going to show you a little diagram that explains. If you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out on your goals, your thought process is, oh, maybe I can do it. Maybe, right? As a result of you not feeling 100% like you can do it, you feel unmotivated. You feel discouraged because you're not sure if you can actually get the job done. So what happens? Subconsciously, you're taking a half-ass effort. You're not fully convicted and intentional with that effort, and then you get a half-ass result, and then you say, see, I knew I couldn't do it. But it's not about whether or not you could or couldn't do it. It's about the fact that you thought you couldn't, that you weren't committed, right? Look at this here. This is the winning paradigm cycle. I will make this happen. Whether you believe it or not, you have to force that thought into your brain, because if you do, you will feel confident, focused, and convicted. And when you feel confident, focused, and convicted, you're more intentional about the actual action. You're more disciplined. You're more focused. And when you're more intentional and disciplined, you get the result you want because you were intentional about the actual action. So then you say, see, I knew I could do this. And then this just never ends. You lock in, you get your physique in shape. Wow, I could do that. What else can I do? You start doing better in business. Your relationships gets better. Some of you might have experienced that. This is why. It's all the belief behind and the commitment behind, right? So ask yourself, which cycle are you in right now? Are you halfway in? Are you 1 foot in, 1 foot out? And you wonder why you can't stay consistent? You keep falling off? Or are you committed? If you're committed, you'll never fail. Failure is when you stop. If you're committed, you ain't stopping, which means you'll find the way, right? So that being said, I want to shift your mindset that I did for myself, right? You got to take out the output thinking and input thinking, right? Stop worrying about the goal. Stop worrying about you losing 60 pounds. Stop worrying about you getting better in business. Don't focus on that shit because you will fail. Start thinking about the inputs, because output thinking creates anxiety, right? How many of us, when you know you have so many things in your life you need to fix, you get overwhelmed, you get anxious, and you don't know which thing to do first or what your next step should be, and what happens? You do nothing. You get discouraged. Then the anxiety comes in. Then the guilt comes in. Then you try and make yourself feel better. You overeat on some shit you shouldn't do. You do something stupid, and then it never ends, right? So I don't care if you have big goals. You need to shift to input thinking, because input thinking creates momentum. And I'm going to explain further what this means. And please don't take this for granted. This literally changed my entire life, and I apply it today, and I've seen unlimited amount of progress. So output focus looks like this. I need to lose X amount of weight. I need to fix everything. I need to transform my whole life. What happens if you have those thoughts? You do nothing. You literally do nothing. You stay in the same spot. You get overwhelmed and anxious. This does not make you better. It doesn't. You having goals doesn't make you better. This is what makes you better. This is the only thing you guys need to focus on. This is it. What can I do right now in this exact moment to move the needle forward? There is nothing else in your life that matters. You cannot control the past. You cannot control 5 minutes from now. The only thing we have is now, right? So input-based thinking. And when you only focus on right now, the anxiety goes away. Your intentionality increases. You're more careful and precise about what input you do. And then all of a sudden, the needle moves forward. Things are going well. Why? Because you're only focused on right now. And we're going to go deeper on this in a second. But now I broke the whole mindset of input focus down into training, nutrition, and habits. Okay. So let's start with how can we apply the input-based thinking in training? Okay. Well, don't think about PRs. Think about reps, right? Before the gym, here's what you want to think. Am I fueled for this workout? Do I have a plan of what workouts I'm going to do? Do I know how many sets, how many reps, and what tempo I need to do? Once you check those boxes moment by moment, boom, okay. Now you're ready to crush it in the gym. Then when you're in the gym, you're only focused on one rep, one set, one contraction at a time. Don't think about 4 reps ahead. Don't think about 3 workouts ahead, because then you lose sight of the only thing that matters, the inputs. Because if you're focused on the outcome, you're not focused on what's actually in front of you. And if you really want to make progress, you have to do good at the little things. The little inputs are what matter, because those stacked over time equals success. And the beauty of it is not only does it get you more success, again, it relieves anxiety, right? The overwhelm goes away. So in my head, I'll give you an example of how I think. Right now, I'm cutting down. Again, I want to get to 8% body fat, right? I'm not thinking about 8% body fat, because if I did, I'd be thinking, well, I might lose strength in the gym. What am I going to eat? Well, what if the grocery store doesn't have this food? And what if I'm not perfect on my macros? That gets me nowhere. It gets me nowhere. My main focus as far as the gym perspective is this. Am I carved up for this lift? Do I have enough carbohydrates to burn glycogen for this lift? Yes. Okay. I'm at the gym. Have I warmed up properly? Have I scapular retracted so that I'm not going to hurt myself? Yes. Okay. Start with this workout. Where do I need to feel this squeeze? How fast, how slow should I be going? Okay. I did 1 rep. That didn't feel right. Let me adjust. Okay. Now I've got it. 1. The next rep has to be perfect. 1. The next rep. I'm not thinking 50 steps ahead, because that's what kept me fat and stuck. Right? So that is the perspective of how you apply input-based thinking with your training. Now, with your nutrition, this is how you do it. You think 1 meal at a time, and you ask yourself this very simple question. Does this meal move me closer to my goals? If the answer is yes, eat it. If it's no, don't. Do not negotiate with yourself. The old version of yourself is a terrorist. We do not negotiate with terrorists. If the answer is no, we don't do it. And if you're in my one-on-one program and you're not sure, you can text me and ask me, and I'll tell you. It's that simple. Let's not overcomplicate things. Your body becomes the sum of your inputs, not your intention. So input-based thinking. This is why if you're in the one-on-one, you understand the importance now of why I tell you guys, I'm going to build your program. You just nail the inputs every day. That's it, right? Habits. How does this apply to habits? Well, your habits either pull you forward or they pull you back. So ask yourself this question right here. Is this habit aligned with who I want to become? Right? For example, preparing your environment for success. Does that align with your highest self? Fuck yeah. Tracking macros, 10K steps, morning and nighttime routine, keeping your space clean, hydrating, journaling, laying out clothes, putting your phone away at night. These are all examples of things that you can focus 1 step at a time that actually enforce good habits. So always run it through the filter. Okay, there's a version of me. You got to know what your goals are first. Understand your goals and say, okay, there's this version of me who's this. Does he do this? Does he eat this? Does he say this to his loved one? I don't know. Ask yourself these questions, and it's that simple. 1 step at a time. Now that you understand the power of what mindset you need to have and how output versus input-based thinking plays in together, How do we actually shift our identity into our highest self? It's this simple. You must become an actor playing the role of your highest self. Literally an actor. You have to pretend, because you don't wait to feel ready. You act like the version of you who has already achieved the goal. This is manifestation for those of you who know. This is the law of attraction. Your subconscious mind, which is where 95% of your habits are deeply ingrained and all your paradigms are ingrained, it cannot tell the difference between what you tell it and what reality is. So if you repeatedly act and talk to yourself like you're your highest self, your subconscious mind is going to accept, okay, this is our new identity. Your subconscious mind takes orders. You're the boss. You're steering the ship. If you tell it turn left, it says, okay, boss. If you tell it turn right, it says, okay, boss. If you say, I'll never be successful, it says, okay, boss. If you say, I'm just this fat person, it says, okay, boss. If you say, I'm jacked, I'm confident, I can do this, it says, okay. And it finds the way. It only accepts. So be careful what you tell it. And if you just pretend and act like the version of yourself you're trying to become, your subconscious mind will accept this new identity. And then your habits will become natural, your new habits, your new way of thinking, and the physical results will follow. Because when your identity changes, your actions follow effortlessly. Okay? So I know Matt just bounced. He's got some things going on, but we talk about this so much, Matt and I. There's a filter I want you to run everything through in your mind. No matter what happens in your life, I want you to ask yourself, what would my highest self do right now? And simply do that. Applying this to your meals, applying this to your training, applying this to your habits, to your finances, to your relationships, to your stress, to your work, any conflict you have. This rewires your identity one decision at a time. So you don't know if you should eat this. Would my highest self eat it right now? You don't know if you're training right. Is this how my highest self would train? Would he just lift the weight to lift it, or would he be intentional? I have this habit of not doing what I said I'm going to do. Would my highest self do that? Oh, I told myself, I was going to invest in my future, but, maybe tomorrow. Would my highest self wait? With my relationships, would I speak to my significant other like this if I was my highest self? With stress, would I let the stress get to me, or would I focus in the moment? With work, if there's a conflict, whatever. What would your highest self do? Ask yourself that question. So you want to think moment by moment. And this is exactly how you actually apply this way of thinking. The filter that eliminates anxiety entirely when facing stress, when facing conflict, when facing overwhelm, okay? Is there anything in my control I can do right now to move this problem forward or resolve it? This is the question I want you to ask. Okay, your wife, your husband, he's being a dick to you. Is there anything in my control I can do right now to move this forward or resolve it? If the answer is yes, act immediately. If there's something you can actually control to move your life forward, you must act immediately. I call it eat the frog. Do the hard thing now. Handle it now. Because what happens if you delay? Oh, tomorrow. Oh, next week. It never happens. And then you get a guilty conscience because you're supposed to. So then you start sabotaging. So if there's something in your control that you can do it now. Like for me, a great example is the dishes, right? You just cooked the meal, your dishes are dirty, you're feeling full, you're feeling lethargic, you kind of just want to chill out. But what happens if you don't do the dishes? You end up throwing 3, 4 more dishes in there. Now it's a 30-minute project and it's tedious. And it's become this bigger thing than it needs to be. Think about the laundry. Okay, your dirty laundry basket is full. Go fucking wash it. Because what happens if you don't? Now the laundry's on the floor. Now your place is a mess. Now your mind's all over the place. Now you're really dreading doing the laundry because now it's this big project. So apply this to anything in your life. If there's something in your control, act immediately. Now, if it is not in your control, if there's genuinely nothing you can do about it, let's not worry. Let go instantly. Do not stress over things you can't control. Let go and let God handle the rest. If you cannot control it, you must let go. And then what do you guys think we need to do next? What can I control right now? What can I do to make this situation better? And you will find a way. When you think this way, you will find the answer. But if you can't control it, let it go. Next. I want you to ask, what can I control right now? Always ask yourself this question. What can I control right now? And do that. This brings you back into power. This is how you take control of your life. What can I control right now? That is the only thing that matters. Nothing else matters in life. You can't control outcomes, but you can control inputs. So always ask yourself this question over and over, and it takes repetition to get in the habit of doing this. So inputs plus identity. You shift your identity and you focus on inputs. Now you have inevitable success. Input thinking eliminates overwhelm. Identity-aligned actions create consistency. And acting like your highest self programs your subconscious mind. Tiny inputs compound into massive life changes. So if you want a massive life change, stop thinking about the massive life change and focus on the inputs. Because success becomes predictable and automatic if you can simply acquire a goal and reverse engineer the inputs. It's that simple. So all that to be said, your future self is waiting for you. We just proved it earlier with that exercise. You have these visions. He's there. She's there. If you can see it in your mind, you can have it in your life. Become the man, your future self, the woman your future self is begging you to be. And it all starts with your mind, with your inputs, with your identity.
If you found this valuable, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and dive into my other videos. I have plenty of other videos on mindset, goal setting, and fitness goals. So dive right in, and I'm super stoked to have you as a part of the community. Hope you have a great day.